What is up, guys? This is a new kind of style of video. I'm going to be going over some commentary today for an F1 League race that me and my friends do every week. As you can see, we are in Bahrain. Custom setups allowed. This is season 3, I believe. This is our first race of the season, but the second race of the season for the series. We missed the first race because we attended another league. But anyway, here we go for our first qualifying lap. Um, Quick qualifying, so going to be a quick session. I believe it's only 15 minutes. As here we come for our first lap out of the final corner, or out of the first corner. Come to the line. The setup was I was practicing for a little bit before the race. The setup was pretty good. Come through the first corner here. Missed the apex just a little bit, but we are still able to keep it nice and tidy as we come through the straight. But yeah, setup was pretty good. I think I was between this group of people I'm racing with, like third fastest in time trial. So yeah, pretty confident about it. But as you can see, we get a little bit of a snap of oversteer into that corner. Able to correct it though, not spin. As a little bit more oversteer coming out of that corner. As here we come through the final corner. Two people have gone out so far. NASCAR boy goes fastest, but because of those two snaps of oversteer, did not think I was gonna be good enough for a fast lap. But as you can see, we do go fastest out of the group that have went so far. So we came to the pits, but quickly re-exited as we did not change set of tires here. Wanted to get as much running as we possibly could. But yeah, so just trying to get as much running as we possibly could. As you can see, Go Boom is in first, right in front of us. Go Boom, one of the better drivers in the league, I would say. And then we have our former championship rival from last season, HMS Fan, right behind us. So I'm going to try and see if we can extract any more time out of these old tires. As I did feel like there was a lot of places we could improve, but as you'll see as we come to the line here, uh, already gaining on the straight. But as you'll see, we didn't really get that much time out of the tires, or at least not as much as I wanted or expected we could. Now that might seem a little bit ironic, seeing as I'm currently 500s up. But as the lap just goes on, I think I broke a little bit too early right there. Um, then went over the curb right here, and then went too deep because of it, and then once again got a little bit of a slide. So that's already lost us 1/10. We do gain a little bit back here, but because we do go wide in the middle of the corner, it does lose us a little bit more time. We are gaining still, but towards the end of the lap, we just didn't have enough of the pace that I thought we could have on these old tires. So I decided to just bring it in. As you can see, we're already 3/10 down. Really, no reason to complete the lap. Um, Might as well just get ready for our final qualifying lap. I was actually trying to do two final laps, but as you'll see in a couple seconds, I did end up making a mistake and didn't leave enough time to go out for a 2 lap run. I wanted to do that just in case I had messed up on my first final run, and then I could hope and pray that I could squeeze something out of the tires to abort the lap. As you can see, spectating Kluka here, he's first. He actually put up a really good lap, went 3/10 faster than me and Go Boom. So obviously that's pretty impressive for Kluka. Kluka, I would say, is one of the better drivers in the league. He just has a bit of a problem with spinning or bidding it. But yeah, so obviously we're gonna have to make a big gain on this final run if we want any chance at pole. Um, See NASCAR White and Small, then Go Boom. Go Boom, I'm pretty sure was on this outlap here. And then after seeing that I decided that it was time to go out for our final run. Um, Obviously, I was going to be one of the first out, which is actually really surprising to me. But I think that was just because some people were not able to get their second run in as well, or maybe did a full second run. But I digress. As we come out of the final corner to our final qualifying lap, already gaining on the straight once again. This setup was pretty balanced on straights and corners. That's what I was really going for. As we break a little late, but it is enough for us to correct the car. We are already almost 2 tenths up. Do go a little bit wide out of exit, but that's all right. As we come to the third corner, hit the curb just a little bit, but we are able to keep it going, and we are now still about a tenth up. As we do get a little bit of sliding, but we were able to correct the car. We do go very wide here, but still, because of our first lap and how horrendous we did in those set of corners, we are still moving up in terms of time. Come down the straight, we gain even more time. We are now nearly 5 tenths up as we come into this corner, hit the curb a little bit, and don't get that wide of an exit, but it is still just enough as we do overcorrect the car a little bit right there. Try and be as smooth as possibly can on the brakes. Trying to use as little brakes as I possibly can while being smooth on them. I know that probably doesn't make any sense, but coming to the final corner here, we do make a little bit of a mistake. We do completely miss the apex. That's going to lose us some time. But as we come to the line, go P1. Honestly, I was very surprised when I came P1 here. I felt like that lap was not going to be good enough at all, but we just barely were able to make it to pole position. But remember, there are still a couple cars left to go out. So Kluka and Go Boom have retired. They made mistakes on their lap, so we still have HMS fan and small NASCAR fan on the way to their final lap. As here comes HMS fan finishing his lap. He, I believe, he was not able to improve on his lap, so that will leave us on pole position for our first race of the third season. I don't really know what to say other than it was just a pretty good session. Was not really expecting to go on pole, but luckily our setup was good enough for us to not really have that many disadvantages throughout the track. So here we go, choosing our setup. I decided to go for mediums to soft because I did not want my mediums to just completely, or sorry, my softs to just completely wear off towards the end of the run. But you'll see later in the race, I actually had a change of heart towards the softs and decided to change to hards. But here we go. Lights are about to go out and go. We do get a really good restart. Kluka right behind us does not. HMS fan, say a pretty decent start. He's going to get ahead of Kluka and then dive bomb right into the first corner. We were able to outbrake him and take the lead right back. And then HMS fan realizing that, that pretty much ruined his entire chance of trying to contend for the lead on the first lap. He gives it up to his much faster teammate, Go Boom, who honestly, Go Boom's been one of the most dominant drivers in the series. So we just need to make sure that we pull away as far as we possibly can while we are on the mediums and he is on the hards. We're obviously going to have a major advantage at the beginning of the stint on the faster tires, as we do go fastest lap being the first crossing the line, 134.7. But as the race continues, as Go Boom does go a little bit deep there, as the race continues, you'll see how our mediums do wear off, and I do make a little bit of a mistake. As you can see at the bottom, I am using a lot of the ERS already, only lap 2, and I've already just about 25%. I did make a mistake and didn't save enough ERS, so that was one of the contributing factors towards us losing a little bit of time towards the end of the stint. But as you can see right now, we are starting to pull away, 1.2 seconds away from Go Boom, to go a little bit deep into that corner, but we were able to caress the car. 1.2 seconds now, as we have both of the Alfa Romeos behind us, Go Boom on the hards and HMS Fan on the mediums. Alfa Romeo does have a pretty stacked lineup this season, so we are just hoping, praying that we can be able to be the one to really just try and hold them off throughout this championship, as we do go fastest lap for lap 3, and nobody else was able to best that time so far. Do go a little bit, missed the apex just a little bit in that corner, and do cut the corner right there. But luckily we have non-strict track limits for this race. For this league, it does vary between tracks, but for Bahrain, we do have non-strict track limits. So that is very good for us, as we do cut a little bit off right there. But pretty clean corner. Now 1.3 seconds ahead of Go Boom. I do get a little bit of slightage right there, but like I said, we just need to make sure we keep up the pace. We just need to make sure that we keep everything as clean as possibly can, so that way we don't fall off too far on the bottom of the stint. As Go Boom, you saw, actually did go wide right there, did make a little bit of a mistake. As you can see, our tires are already at 10%. Go Boom, I don't think he was pushing at the moment, but he has been braking a little bit deeper, so I was hoping that maybe his tires would be a little bit weaker. But as we cut to the next lap, he's already closed the gap, now under a second. So now I think he started to push a little bit more, realizing that we were kind of eating our tires up in our ERS. So now 8 tenths to behind. Here I think he is going to get DRS. As you see, we start using our ERS in order to just try and build the gap as far as we can, knowing that it's not that much time until he eventually does get close enough to try and make an attempt to pass. But once again, that was a very big mistake towards the end, and I was never really able to regain the ERS that I lost. But for right now, we are just trying to make sure that everything is as clean as possible, just trying to get through each corner. As there is a yellow flag for Kluka and the McLaren. I'm pretty sure he spun right there. But yeah, just trying to make sure we can stay as far away as possible from Go Boom and try and delay the inevitable as much as we possibly can, seeing as his hards are finally starting to come in while our mediums are finally starting to come off. So yeah, just lap 5, still 16 laps to go. Obviously, we know we can't hold off Go Boom for that long, as we do try and break the slipstream down this straight. And we cut to the next lap. Go Boom now 4 tenths behind us. He is catching us very, very quickly. So at this point, I'm just expecting a pass any minute now. Excuse me, if you do hear some sniffling or something, I apologize. I am currently a little sick, but I'm gonna try and do my best to record the video as best I possibly can, seeing as the next race is in a couple of days. But as you can see, Go Boom now with DRS tries to go down the inside. We do throw a block, but he's gonna pull a switcheroo on us, and we try and leave him as much space as possible, not exactly knowing if we're clear or not. He is going to go a little bit deep right here, almost running into the back of us, but we were able to keep it clean. I'm just starting to panic a little bit in my head, because I'm trying to make sure I can keep him behind us as much as possible, but he does get DRS down the straight. We try to defend, but we have to ultimately move out of the way, try and go for the crossover, but just not enough room, as he does park it right on the curb. But luckily, we're going to get DRS right here down this straight. We make a move towards the inside. I do brake a little bit earlier in hopes that I can maybe get a better run off the corner, but as you can see, we both get huge snaps of oversteer, with mine being all the more worse, and that is going to pretty much ruin our chance at any hope. As you can see, go boom, next lap already 1.3 seconds ahead, so that pretty much ruins our chance of any hope of trying to fight for this win for the rest of the race. I'm still trying as hard as I possibly can to catch back up, but I already know that he is going to be effectively gone with those hards still coming into their own, and our mediums now starting to just completely die. As we do have, and I go a little bit wider right here, we do have Griga and NASCAR Boy right behind us. They are fighting, so that's actually very helpful for us. It means we can basically just focus on P2 for the moment. Griga being our former championship rival last season, just didn't have enough to really close the gap to him. But I'm hoping this season for a better result against him, as we are obviously ahead at the moment, and this only being our first race of the season. So, yeah, just like I said, just trying to keep the pace up as much as I possibly can. Already, by now, I've already thrown first place into the win as we do skip to the next lap. HMS Fan and NASCAR Boy finally decided to stop battling in order to try their best to catch me. As we do pit here in hopes, I was hoping that we were going to be able to undercut Go Boom by going onto the hards, but unfortunately, he ruins our plan by pitting on the same lap as us, as NASCAR Boy and HMS Fan will be staying out in hopes that they can end the race on the softs and possibly catch me, as we do have a little bit of trouble getting out of the pits here. It was not a problem of pit crew, it was more of a problem of me not being able to find the gear. But yeah, just that will lose us about 2 seconds, as we are now 3 seconds behind Griga, or sorry, not Griga, Go Boom. But obviously, we still have time to try and do our best before these hards come in to try and make sure that we stay ahead of HMS Fan and NASCAR Boy, as HMS Fan does end up hitting right here, does go on the softs while NASCAR Boy stays out. With NASCAR Boy staying out, that pretty much assures to me that he is in no way possible of trying to catch us. But I would worry about Griga, because he is now, as he pits, I'm pretty sure he came out about 8 seconds behind us. 9 seconds behind us, yes. So, obviously, with his fresher tires and the faster tire, he's going to be gaining a lot of time. So, it's just going to be a defensive masterclass from here on out. Still 9 seconds between us as we do cut to the end of this lap, as NASCAR Boy finally decides to pit, and HMS Fan, now almost down to 8.5 seconds behind us, is gaining very rapidly as our tires are now at 10%. As we do get a huge snap of oversteer right there, a very crucial mistake, which will cost us about a second to Griga. He's now closed it to 7.5 seconds, as we just, like I said, just try and build the gap as much as we possibly can throughout the rest of this race, knowing that as we do go a little bit wide, another very big mistake, as we as we know that Griga is, on the faster tire, has the fresher tires, so we just try and do everything we possibly can, as we do cut the corner a little bit, admittedly, but like I said, track limits are not strict. Now gap down to 6.5 seconds. He's gaining about 2 seconds on us each lap. So I'm just hoping that soon enough those tires will start to fall off, as he is pushing, probably using all of his battery by now, trying to catch us as fast as he possibly can, as we are not having that good of a lap, as we do go red in both sectors. Cut to the next lap. Griga is now 4.6 seconds behind. He took another 2 seconds throughout the lap out of our lead on him. Go Boom now 6.7 seconds ahead, and really not that much of a threat to us, at least, as in, like, we are not planning on catching up. The only person we are focusing on at the moment is HMS Fan, as we do just try and keep the car as tidy as possible, making as little mistakes as possible, just knowing that he's already gaining enough time from his tires. So if we can just keep it as clean as possible, there's a very big possibility that he is not going to be able to catch us. So we just keep driving, keep pushing. As you can see in the bottom, I'm not using any URS as in hopes of maybe a last resort of just draining our battery in case Griga does get there eventually. Do do have a pretty good corner right there, but Griga now 4 seconds behind us. Nearly for a second there was at 3 seconds, but we were able to keep closing on to the gap, or holding on to the gap, as now 2.8 seconds between us as we do cut to the next lap. Griga is obviously doing everything he possibly can. As you can see, I'm now starting to use the ERS a little bit more in hopes of just trying to stay as far away as possible from him, and keeping him out of DRS range for as long as I possibly can. As now 2.8 seconds as we are gaining a little bit more on the gap. But like I said, he's once again pushing as hard as he can and using all of his ERS, while we are, of course, pushing, but we aren't using any of our ERS and trying to keep him behind us. So that's very good for us. It allows us to really just manage the pace as much as we have to, knowing that we have a little bit of backup as we do get more oversteer. That's going to cost us a little bit more time, as now 2.5 seconds, 2.4 seconds are between us with only 4 laps to go. Just turn in a little bit early right here and then go a little bit wide, trying to correct the car, overcorrected a little bit. And now Griga is right on our heels, 2.2 seconds. I'm just hoping that he is going to make a mistake pushing way too hard. But as for us, we are just going to keep saving our ERS, keep going all out as much as we possibly can, trying to get all out of this, all the pace we can out of these tires, all the pace we can out of the car, as we are on equal cars for this series. So the Williams is not at that big of a disadvantage compared to the Mercedes and the McLarens. So yeah, now 1.7 seconds with only 3 laps to go. At this point, we are now very desperate for any mistake we can possibly get from HMS Fan behind us. Is now 1.6 seconds. Still not using any of the ERS because I did not believe that his tires were going to be good enough to be able to really close the gap that much on the straights. So 32% ERS, 1.6 seconds behind Griga, or 1.6 seconds ahead of Griga. Just do cut to the next lap. Now 1.7 seconds with only 2 laps to go. Griga's tires have now started to fall off, while our tires are only on 26%, and we still have 23% ERS. Started to use a little bit more, seeing that he was catching us. Keep it pretty neat to that corner. Coming through here, once again, pretty neat. Well, meanwhile, Griga is outbraking himself just a little bit. Now 1.4 seconds. So all we have to do is just make sure we can keep the gap under 1 second. Just 2 more laps. As we just try and survive as much as we possibly can. Then I take a look at my fuel, and we have 0.7 laps left, which is still plenty. I do actually decide to tell Griga that I only have barely enough fuel just in order to an attempt to try and throw him off. But we clearly have enough fuel as we do come to the final lap. Now 1.5 seconds between us, 1.6 seconds between us. We have now drained all of our battery, and we are just trying to get to that finish line as 1.4 seconds. I know that if we can just keep him outside of the DRS range for the next sector and a half, it'll pretty much be over. As we do have a caution for the McLaren NASCAR boy, I believe he did actually pit on this lap to try and go for, or pit last lap to try and go for fastest lap. Um, but the main focus right now for us is just keeping HMS fan as far back as we can behind. Um, Now 1.5 seconds going to the next DRS lane, as he does actually end up going wide right there, which is really good for us, and that will pretty much secure second place for us as we do come to the line. P2 in our first race of the season. Very good result. Obviously, still a little bit of a gap between us and the rest of the field, seeing as we did miss the first race. But still, really good result, really good points. As you see, NASCAR boy still going for fastest lap. He didn't end up getting it. We do take the second step on the podium. Obviously, Go Boom has won the race. He will get the top step, but I am hoping for better result next race, maybe with us on the top step or continuing our streak of podiums. As we do look at the points, we are currently P4, only trailing NASCAR boy, Go Boom, and Griga, but hopefully we can close that gap soon. Well, that is it. Hope to see you guys later.